Is former President Donald Trump really preparing to send out $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus checks to millions of Americans? That's the big question sweeping the nation right now. And for good reason. The topic has ignited headlines, conversations, and even hope among millions of struggling Americans, especially seniors living on fixed incomes. In a recent interview, Trump proudly spoke about the massive revenue the U.S. has been generating through tariffs and trade policies, claiming that the money flowing in is unlike anything the country has seen before. But what really caught everyone's attention was his next statement and a hint that those funds could be used to send out what he called tariff stimulus checks. The idea of a direct cash payout in the middle of a federal budget standoff and government shutdown chaos has raised eyebrows, but it's also raised expectations among people desperate for relief. Welcome to Truth Lens, where we break down the noise and get straight to the facts that matter most to hardworking Americans, especially our seniors, retirees, veterans, and those relying on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits. Every week here on Truth Lens, we cut through political spin and confusing government jargon to help you understand what's really going on with your money and your benefits. Because let's face it, when you're living on a fixed income, watching prices rise faster than your check, every headline about new stimulus feels personal. Whether you're a senior trying to stretch that $1,300 Social Security payment through the month, or a veteran depending on your VA benefits to cover bills, the possibility of a $2,000 payment sounds like a lifeline, not just a headline. So let's get into it. Is this $2,000 stimulus check actually real? Is it happening? According to multiple verified reports, including an interview with One America News earlier this month, Donald Trump floated the idea of sending checks worth between $1,000 and $2,000 per person. He said the payments would be funded through revenue generated by tariffs, the taxes the U.S. collects on imported goods, describing the plan as almost like a dividend to the people of America. Trump made the comments while addressing the ongoing budget deadlock that's left parts of the federal government shut down since early October 2025. Now, here's why this matters. With the government partially shut down, critical assistance programs are hanging by a thread. Several states have already warned that they might not be able to send out SNAP food stamp benefits beyond November 1st because of the funding freeze. That means millions of families, it's including low-income seniors who depend on SNAP to put food on the table, could soon face interruptions. In that climate, talk of a stimulus check isn't just political chatter. For many, it's a sign of hope. Let's take a closer look at what Trump actually said. In that same One America News interview on October 2nd, 2025, he mentioned that the checks could range from $1,000 to $2,000 per taxpayer. And perhaps most notably, he said people receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Veterans Affairs benefits, or even unemployment assistance would all qualify. His reasoning, every American pays into the system, Trump said, and that means every American deserves to benefit from the strength of the U.S. economy. If true, that would mark one of the broadest relief payments in U.S. history and potentially reaching seniors who've been left out of other forms of stimulus in the past. Think about it. A retired 74-year-old widow in Ohio living on $1,180 a month from Social Security could finally see a lump sum that covers rising heating costs, overdue medical bills, or even a few extra weeks of groceries. For millions of older Americans, it wouldn't just be a financial boost, it would be a breath of relief in a time when every dollar is stretched to the limit. But there's also reason for skepticism. This isn't the first time a large-scale stimulus has been teased by the administration. Earlier in the year, Trump and Elon Musk briefly mentioned the concept of $5,000 Dogecoin stimulus payments targeted toward working-class Americans. That plan vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. Then there was Senator Josh Hawley's American Worker Rebate Act, which proposed $600 per adult and $600 per dependent, up to $2,400 for a family of four. But that proposal stalled out in Congress and never moved forward. So what makes this new tariff-funded stimulus any different? According to Trump, the answer lies in tariff revenue. He claims that the money collected from tariffs on imports, especially from China, could be used to directly fund these payments without adding to the national debt. He described it as a win-win, punishing foreign countries for unfair trade practices while rewarding American citizens with rebate-style payments. However, critics have called this proposal political theater, arguing that the amount of tariff income wouldn't be nearly enough to cover a nationwide payout. Let's pause here and put this into a real-world perspective. The average Social Security recipient in 2025 receives just over $1,900 per month. Meanwhile, grocery prices are up more than 21% compared to 3 years ago, and housing costs continue to climb across much of the country. For seniors living alone, that means making painful choices every single month: medication or meals, heating or rent. So when talk of a $2,000 payment surfaces, it's more than just numbers. It's about survival. One viewer named Linda, a 68-year-old retiree from Tennessee, recently shared her story. She said her Social Security check barely lasts 3 weeks after covering rent and prescriptions. Every time I hear about another possible stimulus, I hope it's true, she said, because just one check could help me catch up and finally breathe again. Her words echo what millions are feeling right now: exhaustion, anxiety, and hope that relief will finally come. For those depending on disability benefits, the struggle hits even harder. Take James, a 59-year-old former truck driver in Pennsylvania who has been on SSDI since a back injury left him unable to work. His monthly check covers the basics, but inflation has eroded its value. He told us, when prices go up, but your check doesn't, you feel invisible. For Americans like James, the promise of an additional $1,000 or $2,000 isn't political, it's personal. Now, the political debate around this proposal is heating up fast. Supporters see it as a creative solution to get money into the hands of Americans without increasing taxes or debt. They argue that using tariff revenue is a smart way to redistribute the benefits of trade back to the people. Critics, on the other hand, dismiss it as impossible math, pointing out that total tariff revenue wouldn't even come close to the trillions needed for such a program. They see it as a political move aimed at gaining attention during the shutdown standoff. As the debate continues, one thing is undeniable: Americans are hurting. Inflation remains stubbornly high, and while economic headlines may celebrate recovery, everyday people aren't feeling it. Groceries, gas, rent, and utilities have all outpaced benefit growth. The seniors who built this country, worked for decades, and paid into Social Security are now watching their hard-earned dollars lose value every month. That's why the conversation about stimulus checks keeps returning, because for millions, it's not about politics, it's about survival. Even with skepticism surrounding Trump's plan, the idea of direct relief resonates deeply. It brings back memories of the pandemic era stimulus checks that helped families keep the lights on, put food in the fridge, and pay rent when everything else felt uncertain. The difference this time is that inflation is high, savings are low, and many fixed income households have